Good morning. I am getting back into writing. Lately, I have been very focused and consumed by work, and I have just let it fall away. And it's so silly, but I feel like when I don't write for a few months, I don't feel like a writer anymore. I don't know, it just feels weird. When people tell me they've read my book, it doesn't feel like mine. It's like some other person did it. And so I was going back to start writing the second book, and then I remembered that other manuscript that I had been working on, and not that I had forgotten it, but I wasn't quite as in love with it anymore. But I don't know why. I reread it just now and I got excited again. So this vlog, we're getting back in the swing of things. So the chairs are a little high at this desk, but I'm gonna start with some journaling and then move into more reading. And so this should be fine for now, and let's get crack-a-lackin'. So I just finished my journaling. It took like 45 minutes. It was a little bit longer than my daily journal because I was doing a bunch of prompts that I found on one of Ali Abdal's videos about feeling lost in life, basically. I'm in my early 20s, and in the past few months, there's been a lot of questions about moving and potential jobs, and just kind of trying to decide what the next year will look like. And as a person generally, I'm not great with unknowns or the feeling of ambiguity. And so this has been a very good exercise and impetus for growth for me. And so I just did some of his prompts about kind of where I am, where I want to be, what I want to prioritize. And I think kind of running through the core is writing. And I think that's something that I've really let go as work's gotten more stressful. And these questions have kind of taken over my life. And so I want to change that. I definitely do. But yeah, I guess that's part of why I also haven't been writing as consistently, just because I feel very lost. And I feel like that is both the perfect time to write and also the time where I've put the most pressure on myself, because I feel like it needs to be good. I guess it's that sophomore slump, but I just put a lot of pressure on myself. And so I'm ready to get back to just finding the joy in it and remembering how much energy writing gives me and how much I love just discovering characters and, all of the good parts that I so adore about the writing process. So without further ado, I'm going to get into rereading the manuscript. Side note is that every time I say the word manuscript, I can only think of the Taylor Swift song now. Also, cute outfit. I'm on page 50. I read a good part of it before bed last night, and I had read the most recent part, and I really, really liked that. I felt like the writing was a little bit more mature. This whole manuscript, I think, is definitely a little bit more sophisticated than my debut novel. I just think I've grown as a writer, and I like the characters. They feel a little bit more three-dimensional and a lot more flawed, which I think is really intriguing. It's just a different type of book. So I'm excited about that. But I think when I went back to the beginning, it definitely didn't hold up to the most recent chapter I've written. So I'm going to need to go back and rework some things. But of course, that's always how it is. So keep going. My posture has never been as good as when I know I'm being filmed from the side, because there's no way I sit this straight normally. I just don't know what happened. It's literally there's the beginning and it's fine, it's good, but then a switch flipped, and all of a sudden my description got so much better, and it just, I don't know, I'm reading over this and I'm oh my god, this was first draft, which, okay, not tooting my own horn, of course there's going to be a lot of editing, whatever, but I feel like this is the best first draft I've ever written. These passages at the end, and again, this is only the last few pages, but whatever I was doing that day, it was working. So I need to go back and see when I wrote this, because that is what I need to strive for everything. All right. So I just finished reading. It's about 80 pages right now, like 30,000 words. So I guess 120 like book pages, but 80 pages for my Word document. And I made a few notes of things I want to come back to. I'm torn because there's a lot of edits I want to make and changes I want to make to the beginning that I feel like would be good for me to make before I keep going, so that I have a little more clarity on where I am going next. But I think it's about 50-50 right now. I need to make this decision. I'm going to take a small yogurt break. I got this really fancy yogurt at Central Market, which is like a fancy H-E-B Texas grocery store. It's coffee flavored. So I will report back with how this tastes and what I decided as far as next steps. Yogurt finished. 4 out of 5. It was pretty good. I liked it. It definitely tasted like coffee, which I love that flavor. So, and I have decided that I'm going to continue writing and try and keep going and hit the first draft. And if I hit a slump, instead of dropping it entirely, I'm going to go back and make the edits that I wanted to make at the beginning. So, let's get writing. I said crack like already this video. Let's get writing.
Just where it was needed, gleaming black as night, cloistered in injustice, dead in the eye of time. Nobody is losing, faces merge and change, but your face remains the same. Swallows will be here by dawn, when we're finally sober.
Okay, it's the next day and I'm running late, so I have to go meet some friends at a coffee shop, but here's the outfit. And I've been on such a roll with writing. I finally feel like what it felt like before, where I was just excited and fun, and it gave me energy for the other parts of my life. And so I am very excited. I definitely have more thoughts on this, which I will share in probably the next clip. Hello. So I'm at a coffee shop, just finished chatting with some of my friends. It's called Sawten. If you're in Austin, it's by far one of my favorites. It's so good. But yeah, I just wanted to chat a little bit about, I guess, this feeling of like not being a writer. It's kind of silly because even though I've published a book, if I go too long without writing, I don't feel like I'm a writer anymore. And even with my book being out, I still often feel like I'm not really a writer. I haven't really made it. Like, I don't know. People have read my book and told me they liked it, and I recognize that, but it feels separate from my own identity, if that makes any sense. And I know it sounds so silly, but I just don't think I'm where I want to be, which is both good because that encourages me to continue growing, and I have a lifetime to learn more skills and to grow in my writing quality-wise and just overall experimentally, etc. But it's just weird in the interim where if I go too long, like weeks and weeks without touching my manuscript or any sort of writing, I start to feel like I lose that part of my identity, and I don't know how to fix that, but I am glad that I'm getting back into it. This past day, I started yesterday, and then so yesterday writing so much just felt so good, and it was like I was coming back to a part of myself. And I think I need to remove a lot of the stress and pressure I put on myself and instead focus on that part and focus on how good it feels to connect to the story and to be exploring characters and plot and all of these things, and how much joy reading brings me. Because I think, especially since publishing, it has turned a little bit into more stress. And I just put a lot of pressure myself, like I said, where I think of reading as, I need to curate my reading selection so that it informs me as a writer, so that, I can recommend things to people because I have made it part of myself that I read a lot and write a lot and recommend things. And I think all of that pressure has made me read less and just get less joy. But in the past few days, I was sick, and so I just read silly romances and just whatever I wanted to. And I got so much pure joy out of that it reminded me how much I just like the activities. And there's a reason why they've become such a big part of who I am. And I just need to always come back to that. And especially with writing, that it's not a pressure of every day needing to get a certain word count, but rather that the act of writing itself is what's enjoyable. And I know this sounds so silly because I know these things. Objectively, I know this is true. But it's just hard to internalize that, I guess. Especially, I don't know about you, but I'm a pretty big overachiever, and just I want everything to go well. I want, my book to get in front of people who like it and like that kind of story and will get joy out of it. And I write especially for other people more than I write for myself. I mean, I enjoy the stories and I love writing, but I don't think I would write if it was just going into a void. I write so that people will read it and smile and laugh and have a good time and enjoy the characters as much as I do. But all in all, I think this has been a really good exercise in coming back to that identity and coming back to the fact that I am a writer. Nothing can take that away. Being published or not doesn't make you a writer. Writing every single day or not doesn't not make you a writer. If you write, you're a writer, and yeah, nothing can take that away. So with that, I'll catch you in the next one.